So the problem is x squared minus 4 over 5x multiplied by 30 over 3x minus 6.
So the first thing that we did was we factored the x squared minus 4, and that's the difference of two squares, so you can do x minus 2 and x plus 2. And then we factored the 3x minus 6, and you can factor out the 3, and then it's x minus 2.
And then the x minus 2 and the x minus 2 cancel out, and you get x plus 2 over 5, which can be, or 5x, which can be split into 5 times x, and 30 over 3, and the 5 and, or no, the 3 and the 30 can be divided to have 10 over 1, and the 5 and the 10 can be divided, so the 5 disappears and the 10 goes to 2, and it all comes out to be 2 parentheses x plus 2 over x.
So the problem was x squared plus 2x equals negative 10. So first we want to set it equal to 0, so we added 10 to both sides. And then we decided to do quadratic formula, which is x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And then we just labeled what the a, b, and c's were.
And then you're going to go ahead and plug all the variables into the quadratic equation. And then you go ahead and solve. So we ended up getting x equals negative 2 plus or minus square root 4 minus 40 all over 2.
That reduces to negative 2 plus or minus square root of negative 36 over 2. And you can break that down into negative 2 plus or minus 6 times the square root of negative 1 over 2.
And then you can break down negative 1 into I to get negative 2 plus or minus 6I over 2. And finally you divide both parts of the binomial on the top by 2, so you get x equals negative 1 plus or minus 3I.
The two equations it gave us are underlined in purple, and it's asking us to solve for x. So on the left side, we solved for y and plugged it into the other equation.
Then we distributed throughout the equation until you had to combine like terms and then set x by itself.
When you are dealing with a problem that has variables on the same side, you just isolate one of the variables and then plug it in for the other one.
Here we had number 9, and the problem was that absolute value of 9 minus x is less than 9.
So you take the inequality and you make it two different inequalities. And on one side you just drop the absolute value, and on the other side you take the inequality sign and flip it and make the 9 a negative 9.
So going to the side that is 9 minus x is less than 9, you then subtract 9 from both sides, and then you're left with negative x is less than 0. You then divide by negative 1 on both sides, and when you divide by negative in an inequality, you then switch to the inequality sign, so you end up with x is greater than 0.
On the other end, 9 minus x is greater than negative 9. You subtract 9 on both ends, and you're left with negative x is greater than negative 18. You divide by negative 1, and then you're left with x is less than 18 because it flipped the sign.
So the problem is x to the 4th minus 16, and they're the difference of squares, so you can put it in a reverse box and factor it.
So you have to find out what two things will make x to the 4th minus 16. So you find out that it's x squared minus 4 times plus 4, and you can't factor x squared plus 4.
So you put x squared minus 4 into another reverse box, and the two middle components that cancel out are negative 2x and 2x, so you're left with x minus 2 and x plus 2, and then you bring down the x squared plus 4, and that's your final answer.
So the problem is 7x minus, or 7 over x minus 4 over y, and you want to get the same denominator so that you can subtract them. So you multiply 7x times y over y, and you get 7y over x times y.
You find what you can multiply times y to equal xy. So x over x is same as multiplying 4 over y times 1 to give you 4 over x, 4x over x, y.
And then your next step is to just subtract them, and when you do that, you're left with 7y minus 4x over xy, and which cannot be simplified. So that's your final answer.
Question number 21 is, if f of x equals x squared plus 7, then f of x plus a equals. You have to substitute x plus a for the x in the original equation.
So you get x plus a squared plus 7, then you distribute.
So then once you distribute, you're left with x squared plus 2ax plus a squared plus 7. And that's your answer.
So you start by writing your equation x over x minus 9 equals 1 over x minus 9 plus 4 over 1. Then you multiply 4 over 1 by x minus 9 over x minus 9 to get a common denominator. And when you multiply and distribute, you get x over x minus 9 is equal to 1 over x minus 9 plus 4x minus 36 over x minus 9.
And then you have to get x by itself, so you multiply x minus 9 over 1 on both sides, and then you cancel it out on the x side, and then you cross multiply on the other side and cancel them out, and then you end up with x equals 4x minus 35.
And finally, once you get that, you just basically work your way across. You remove the negative 3 by dividing on both sides. Then you get x equals 25 over 3, or 11, and a 2 out of 3. Right.